So shepherd's pie is a very traditional dish from London, where I'm from. It usually contains lamb and potatoes on the top. If you're vegetarian or you're vegan, you can complete exactly the same process. Just cook some lentils before and then add them in with the vegetables. And then that can be your filling if you like. And then some potatoes on the top. If you're vegan, leave out the butter and the egg yolk. Just add maybe a little bit of margarine to it. And that's a good alternative, just with some lentils, guys, okay? And obviously if you've got some lentils in the cupboard, it's a great way to use lentils as well. So in here I've got about half a cup of the leftover gravy, half a cup of chicken stock. I've just taken my meat and I've chopped it fairly large. I'm going to braise this meat now, just to cook it down a little bit more. So it's a bit more tender, so the meat just falls apart when we eat it, okay? I'm going to start with this. I've just got the lamb on a nice high flame. I'm not going to add any salt and pepper at the moment because the gravy is very rich and this meat was heavily seasoned. So I'm going to add that probably towards the end. I'm going to boil this and then cover it with some foil and braise them in the oven for about an hour. The oven's set to 325. When we braise meat, we don't want to set the oven too high because it's going to go dry, okay? See you in about an hour. Okay guys, so I've just got some vegetables on the board. I don't have any potatoes, and because we're in COVID-19, I've got a nice parsnip left and about half a cauliflower. So I'm going to use that for my mash. It's a little bit different, a little bit lighter. Traditionally it's done with mashed potatoes. If you want to do yours with mash, it's just peeling some potatoes, cold salted water, steam them off like the roast potato, and then mash with a bit of butter and some egg yolks, some salt and some nutmeg. I'm going to do mine slightly different, so I'm just going to steam my parsnips and my cauliflower, and then I'm going to do the second half of the shepherd's pie, which is just some vegetable. So we've got the lamb in the oven, we've got the gravy with the lamb. Cut those down a little bit. I'm going to keep the cauliflower relatively whole because it will cook quicker than the parsnip. So I'm going to add a little diced white onion, some shredded carrots, and that's going to add a little bit of depth to our pie filling, okay? I'm going to start these two in a pan with a little garlic and rosemary, and then when the lamb comes out, we'll add everything in together. So the vegetables are ready for the topping. These are ready for the pot. I've got my little steamer pot here. I'm going to season the veg. Seems a bit weird seasoning the steamer. It's not. It helps, okay? Don't be shy. What I'm going to do when I bring the lamb from the oven, I'm going to put it into the pot and I'm going to steam the vegetables at that point, guys, okay? Let's get these working in the pan. Pan is nice and hot, coming from the stove. I'm just going to cook these down. Now what the beauty of grating the carrots does is the carrots are almost going to liquefy. Okay, and it's going to add us a super intense flavour to these onions and carrots, okay? A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper.
And I added a glug of olive oil.
So we've just got the vegetables sweating down in the pan. We don't want too much colour, just to sweat the vegetables to start to bring their flavour. And we're now going to prepare the rosemary and the garlic to go in the pot, and then that's it. Because we've flavoured the lamb already with the rosemary and the garlic, we're not going to add too much. I like the savouriness of the rosemary with the lamb. I think it's a good flavour combination, and obviously the garlic as well. If you wanted to make shepherd's pie regularly, you could just use a good quality ground lamb and just follow exactly the same processes. You just brown the meat in the pan before you add the carrot and the onion. That garlic will just crush down a little bit, choppy choppy, nice and fine. Right guys, you can see my vegetables are turning a nice translucent colour now, okay? Just cooking down nice, all our herbs and flavouring and everything's in there. When we get it cooked down a bit more, we're going to add a good healthy glug of red wine, and then we're just going to let it cook, and then we'll wait for the lamb to be ready and we'll mix it all in. Okay guys, my veg is cooked down nicely now. It's almost looking like a jam. I'm going to turn the heat off and leave him be. And then when the lamb is ready, we're going to mix the two together. Okay, so I've just got my vegetables in the steamer pot. I'm going to steam them till they're nice and tender. I'm going to let the steam escape, then we're going to turn them into a nice mash, okay? Okay guys, so I've got my vegetables cooked down nicely. I'm going to add a nice little glove of red wine. I'm going to let him reduce. Whenever you cook with wine, it's important to let it reduce well so we get rid of the raw alcohol flavour, okay? I've added 1 teaspoon of tomato puree just for a little bit of richness. And then we're going to add the meat that's come out of the oven, okay guys? So the stock is there. The meat is nice and tender. That's what you want to see with the meat, that you can flake it in your hands, okay? So we're going to add that to the pot, let it finish cooking out. While we do that, we're going to make the mash. Delicious. So we're just going to reduce that a little bit till it all thickens up nicely, and then we're good to go. On a nice low heat. So this is the veg. The cauliflower's steamed off nicely. I'm just going to pour it into my triangular jug, all in there like that. I want to add a decent amount of salt, a good amount of butter, about a tablespoon. Let's put the lid on and I'm going to puree that. Alright guys, the meat is now ready. It smells delicious. You as my mother, you would put baked beans in at this point. My mum's shepherd's pie is the most delicious dish on planet Earth. I always ask her to cook for me when I go home. I'm going to put some lamb in the pan. And we've got our nice cauliflower mash, cauliflower and parsnip mash. We're just going to start to spoon that over a bit, guys. We're going to fork it, and that's going to give us a nice crispy top. So just to clear up the worldwide classic debate, a cottage pie is made with fucking beef. A shepherd looks after fucking lambs, yeah? The parsnip goes really well with the lamb because the lamb is very rich, whereas the parsnip's just a little bit sweet, so it's going to just cut through that richness slightly. A little salt and pepper. Again, you can add a little bit of egg yolk to this, I don't bother. 375, 20 minutes, and we've got a shepherd in the pie. Alright guys, so my shepherd's pie is ready. I've got a nice crust on the top. I've got a nice crust going around the outside. It smells delicious. It's a great time now to use up a bit of old meat and a bit of old lamb, especially in this environment. If we've got like one nice big piece of meat in a week, and it gives us an opportunity to practice a couple of other dishes. This is one of those dishes. This is a classic childhood favourite of mine. The roast lamb is a favourite of mine. This is a favourite of mine. All these dishes are born from tradition, okay? So we would buy a big joint of meat on a Sunday and then we would use it throughout the week. That's how a lot of classic English dishes were born and formed, okay? And with this, we're just gonna have some nice fresh minted peas.